Good afternoon, everyone. This is Morgan here. We're here with Jenny from the marketing team, and of course with Boris Mofrad, which by now you all know. We're very happy to announce our first podcast here, official by Serenity. We're very happy to announce that this will be something which we will be repeating bi-weekly at least. So a returning concept in which we will give you a little bit more insight in what Serenity is doing, the market in general, our partners, of course. But before we jump into that, I'll give the opportunity for Jenny and Boris to introduce ourselves regardless. Go ahead.
So I am Jenny. I am Greek, guys, and I work as a marketing specialist in Serenity for over a year now.
Thank you. So for the ones that do not know, I'm Boris. I'm one of the co-founder. I look into more of the overall product architectures and the ecosystem that we're creating.
Very good. And of course, one of the leaders on our ship. So that is definitely something to note down as well. For the ones that don't know me, I'm Morgan, of course, community manager at Serenity for quite a while now, fortunately. So I'll do anything regarding community marketing. Honestly, I would always say everything I can get my hands in, I love to work with on Serenity. So that being said, let's jump a little bit into the format as this is the first time, so you guys get a little bit of an idea how this will go. So of course, it's a little bit of a different podcast than usual, and that would be due to the reason that we had originally planned an AMA. So we've got a bunch of questions from all of you, which we will also be covering. But apart from that, we will also be talking about the broad market, everything that's happening currently. So that being said, the elephant in the room, Boris, could you maybe speak a little bit about what has been happening in, of course, in your case, Dubai and around it, but with the US and Iran?
Yes, those are quite difficult subject actually to cover because we're pretty far, but we end up becoming frontline actors because we are based in this region. So I'd like also to take the opportunity to send my thoughts to everyone that is currently under difficult times. So as you guys know, recently, the geopolitical situation has sort of spilled over within the Middle East, and being based in Dubai, we have faced a lot of discomfort in terms of missiles flying over and a lot of explosions and stuff like this. Luckily, communications from the authorities were very comforting, but of course it affects the business, the movement of going into meetings, going out and having professional duties to fulfill become more restricted because you have to be careful. So it is, as I hope, a situation that will be resolved. We all hope so, but in reality, it will impact all sort of markets: traditional market, commodities market, crypto market, because Dubai is itself a hub, and as a hub, when a situation arises from an unexpected geopolitical, I would say, outcome, obviously the macro and micro economy get affected, right? So that's why I was also not so much available on the socials, because in those times you are more concerned about kind of, protecting yourself and making sure that things are okay, right? So informations were given, as I said, by through SMS and push messages to stay far away from open space, windows, and make sure that people are safe. So that's what we have done. And obviously, I'm here today to discuss, but yes, things are not as easy, but we're trying our best, to accommodate and provide the necessary information to the community.
Yeah, it's of course turbulent times. I think these are things which were expected, but really not right, especially coming that close to somewhere where you would consider safe pretty much. So my thoughts are definitely with everyone that's either been hit or close to being hit, whatever your situation may be. I hope you're safe and sound, that first and foremost. Then regarding the business element, would you expect this to have any impact on, because of course, for the ones that don't know, we're partly based in Dubai. We've got employees in Dubai. How do you foresee this having any effect on this?
Well, first of all, yes, we do have facilities and operations in Dubai, and SERSH is also in Dubai, and we have been communicating by WhatsApp. Of course, things get humanly affected because you can't really connect personally. On a business side of things, we are also interdependent of other factors that happen into the market. And when it comes to crypto, it has always gone the opposite way from what everybody expects. So we might all of a sudden, out of nowhere, also see a run up from Bitcoin, which is doubtful, but it's always a possibility. However, as we know, since those escalations, gold has gone up, oil obviously has gone up, precious metal have gone up. Probably the stock market on Monday opening may crash. Maybe not. We are today Sunday recording this video. They might obviously the situation. I think you lost me for a second, right? I got offline. I saw that I was offline. I'm sorry if it happened. I saw that I was out of internet. I received the message. So this is what we were discussing. You see, those are the unexpected situations that we're facing. So on the recording, if I've been offline, I was just saying that we have to wait to see what Mondays unveil, but most probably the stock market will have quite a substantial red candle.
Yeah, I assume that they will feel this as well. Especially the stock market seems to be whenever something happens like this, it's stock first, often crypto after it follows, right? How is this in your experience, being veteran in the market, to say the least?
Look, as I said, sometimes the market really surprises us because you see what I see, and it comes back to our core subject, and later you will ask the question. You see, what has happened in this cycle that did not happen in previous cycle is that you genuinely are getting physical assets that are being tokenized and digitized and entering the blockchain space, right? When they enter the blockchain space, they become tradable, okay, and swappable. So 6 months ago, more or less, gold and Bitcoin were at par, right? More or less, both were at $80,000 to $100,000. Today, the gold is at 160 and Bitcoin is around 65. So there is a big gap. But that offers a lot of opportunity, which we did not have in previous cycle, of intra-trade or swap between a digitized version of the gold and Bitcoin, right? So I think those are the things that we have not experienced that will come into the market and will give an extra layer of capital beside an extra layer of service and technology to the market, which will probably take this overall crypto market from $2 to $3 trillion to probably $4 or $5 or $6 trillion.
Very nice, and thanks for the coverage there, Boris. I would say, again, like usual, we've got a lot of questions, so much that all in one podcast would be undoable. That being said,
no, but
we'll
go
make
ahead.
two parts.
Yes, go ahead.
Exactly.
We try to cover as much as possible, and I try to make my answer shorter because usually they're long, and maybe I should just reduce my answer.
Although appreciated, but if we don't get to the whole lot, do not worry. We will cover them in the next podcast. And that being said, we will in next podcast also have some more VIP guests like Boris himself. Think of a Venkat Naga, Farshpala, or maybe even one of our partners from maybe a Zonix or you name it. So we're
Chainlink,
planning to make
Zonix,
this quite
Seagold,
interesting.
and MTA, other partners, yes.
So definitely stick in. And that also being said, if you're tuning in from YouTube, please check into our description. Our Twitter will be there, our Instagram will be there, and also a link to our Telegram. So if you haven't already, follow us there and you'll be up to date for everything, including the next podcast. So let's jump into the questions. The first one is, what happens to still vested tokens which are not claimed? Well, I'll just jump into that one myself, as it's quite an easy one. Regardless of how or where you have your tokens staked, as we have previously said, staking will be remade one-in-one. What does this mean?
Yes.
That if before the migration, your staking pool, as example, had 1 year to go and you had, let's say, 1,000 tokens in it, after this migration, it will be exactly the same to the T. No difference at all. Nothing you need to do.
No.
So
yeah,
very easy, to be fair.
It's a mirror effect of what was on the staking pool for the wallet that were holding those staking, and it's also an indirect or a direct reward to those people, because RWS will have a lot more to offer than SERSH, and because they've committed with us, we're committing back to them, so one-to-one, exactly the same reward, same pools, everything the same. The address probably of the staking pool will change. We will go to a new partner for that. But everything else will remain, so that people will see exactly what they had and what they're supposed to get in a timeline or time frame they were staked for.
Great. So next question is in a similar nature as the previous one. Someone is asking, I'm staking some SERSH tokens kept in an account on a Ledger Nano, and they are allocated locked in a Serenity staking pool till end of March 2026, so end of this month. What do I need to do to ensure I get the new RWS token for the amount of SERSH tokens staked? And also, would I receive that RWS token as rewards equal to the amount of SERSH earned in the staking pool?
That's exactly what I said. It doesn't change. If Ledger Nano represents some technical compatibility or adaptation to the new system, we would do it manually for those people, because we have the data, right? So based on the wallet ID and the amount of tokens and everything will be mirrored one-to-one. No issue.
Yeah, I believe that most of the questions we received were in that nature, which is normal. People are curious. They want to know for their own wallets what's going on.
I want to make something very clear here. You see, and it's not about Serenity. It's about the core principle and philosophy of this industry and of this space. If we talk about a self-custodial approach to this industry and promoting sovereignty and authority on your assets, people that have tendency to trust or to rely on a third-party custodial service, they have to understand the rules and regulation of those companies are different from us, right?
Yeah.
We can't impose and implement our own policy or our own approach to them. So if, for example, and I know, and I will give outright the name, Gate, for example, did not follow the migration, people have to go to Gate to find a solution, not to us, because they have come out of the self-custodial aspect of giving the authority and the custody of their token to a third party. And you have to clearly understand this aspect. It exists in real life. When you open a bank account,
Exactly.
on your contract, banking contract, you're not the account owner, you're the account holder. There is a difference. It's a tiny word, but it's a big difference. So that means if the bank, for whatever reason, goes bust or change their policy, you're not entitled to anything, rather only the insurance, the general insurance that is pertaining to the law, which is a recovery of 80,000 or 100,000. And that's what BitPanda also is doing. They have a policy to protect and recover anything for their client, I believe, because they're caste regulated. Gate is not. So as an individual, when you go to a service provider and you don't actually understand what they provide as a service, then there is a discrepancy between your sole discretion and custodial rights and what they're offered to you as their own policy, right? That has to be very clear.
Exactly. And the whole point, I feel like, that the digital system was created was to avoid the banks. So if the systems right now are starting to be similar to banks, what's the point? We have to...
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Reliance.
Exactly.
You see, a lot of people are unfamiliar or uncomfortable with self-custodial, right?
Yeah.
But self-custodial offer you more, the risk versus reward is bigger on self-custodial than going to centralized exchange. But the decision is yours. At the end of the day, we can't tell people do this or that, because that would again go against the principle of letting people decide for themselves, right?
Yeah, financial freedom.
Yes. However, if they take a decision to feel more comfortable to be on any exchanges, then that exchange has a term and condition that is separate from Serenity.
Thank you. That's very clear. Next question is, I have my SERSH tokens on Ledger. How the migration is going to place? Do I have to do anything? I'm telling you,
I get the same answer.
Like this.
Yeah. To cover all
again,
these, no, you don't have to do anything. We'll do the work for you.
You don't
All
have
you
to
have
do
to do
anything.
is sit and wait.
And if by any circumstances, and that's the difference between self-custodial and non-self, we're not custodial of your token. We owe you those tokens. It's different.
Yeah.
Okay. If because of Ledger, again, compatibility, there is a smart contract in place, the token have to be validated on Ledger, recognized by Ledger. If it's not, we will manually make sure you get your token, because that's our responsibility toward the holder, any holder, right?
Absolutely. And I think a very short answer for a lot of questions. So again, regardless if you hold your tokens on MiCA, on MetaMask, Trust Wallet, I hope in your sAxess, you don't have to do anything. Just sit, wait, we'll airdrop you the tokens. MiCA, they will replace your tokens. So nothing you need to connect to, no messages you need to click, all good. So next question, and this is actually quite a good one, Boris. Please explain to us why the migration is necessary and cannot continue to work with the existing token. Also, what is your plan to get new investors to buy the RWS tokens? And can you explain how the RWS token will be used in the new ecosystem?
Okay, so there is 3 questions in one. First of all, and foremost, when you make a technical migration, because that's what we're doing, it's a technical migration, is based on the limitation of your previous smart contract, which, as you know, guys, a smart contract is immutable. You can't change it. Unless you have a network of validators and you fork the smart contract, which Bitcoins and maybe other projects are doing, coming to us as a small utility project, if we're adding a lot more element and services to our token, which is limited by the current smart contract, we need to rewrite or recreate a new smart contract, right? So from an old smart contract to go to a new smart contract. Why are we doing this? Because if we want to go to the tokenization element of the business and bring tokenization within the ecosystem that is biometric controlled and secured around Serenity ecosystem, then we need to integrate security layers within the smart contract, okay? Those security layers are mandatory in order to be able to do tokenization of an asset, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, we coded a new smart contract. That's first. The second thing, what was the second point?
The second question was, what is your plan to get... no, sorry, the second
More
question
investors.
was, yeah, exactly, how
Yes.
you're getting more investors within the RWS, and follow-up was how it's going to work in the ecosystem. Yeah.
Okay. So you see, there is never a plan to get more investors. There is always a plan to get more users. It's a tiny difference, but it takes you a very long way.
Mm-hmm.
Investors get bored. Investors come based on a key moment where they need to take an advantage of a situation. Users come to use the product and take them on a long-term based journey, okay? So if you have users, you have investors, but if you have investors, you don't have users, right? So
Makes sense.
we will be making a lot of effort to get users. Why I'm saying this? If you tokenize gold, which is the most demanded and the most reputable commodity, and let's say in general, precious metal, but gold, the most demanded, the most reputable commodity in the world, okay? That attracts 2 clearly distinct users or buyers: institutional, only if you are regulated, and retailers, okay? So we are doing both. We are regulated, and that regulation will benefit the retailers. And our model of RWS is made in a way that it will be the engine of every single services we're doing around sAxess, gold tokenization, SBox, and some other services that we will bring in into the future. So the gold tokenization is called sGold. So sAxess, SBox, and sGold. What does the token do? Your KYC validation, your redemption, your authentication, your signature, everything that happens on the biometric, a tiny bit of USDT equivalent to RWS is charged within the ecosystem. But if you have a lot of usage or yourself use a lot the system on daily basis, those few cents will become cumulative a lot of dollars, right?
Mhm.
And that will impact the ecosystem for RWS value.
A very elaborated answer. So definitely thanks for that one. I suggest let's go on to the next.
Yes, let's go on to the next. And you actually gave us a very nice pass for the next segment of questions, which are tokenomics. So someone is asking, can you clearly explain how gold backing will work in practice? Specifically, who the licensed custodian is, how the gold reserves will be independently audited, what legal rights token holders have to the underlying gold, and in which jurisdictions this structure is regulated. First, go ahead and answer this because it's a loaded question. It has another part.
There is again 5 questions into one question. You see, we should organize a different podcast just for the gold, but I will cover it very short in brief. Basically, what Serenity has created is an ecosystem where gold itself, sitting, regulated gold, audited gold, is sitting in a vault. It's not sold, it's not pledged, it's not traded, but it enters in a capital participation through a tokenized version to create through a different array of services, monetization, and revenue making. Okay? When I say like this, it's incomprehensible, but you have to understand that we have patented that model. It's based on a dual token system. One token is pegged to the gold, the physical gold that is sitting in a vault. The vault have to be an international standard regulated vault. You can't come up with gold as an investor and say, I have gold under my bed and I want to tokenize it. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So the gold have to move to a international standard regulated vault. You tokenize that gold as a one-to-one. So if you have, I don't know, 10 kilos of gold, you will have X amount of token linked to that gold. This is yours. It doesn't belong to the project. It doesn't belong to any third party. It's yours. The second token, which is a capital participation token, will basically generate monetization layers through different services. And RWS is in the middle of this ecosystem, which don't belong to us. You have to understand, RWS belong to us. The gold ecosystem don't belong to us. The gold belongs to individuals. And they are under either trustee, appointed a board of trustee, international trustee that verify. You have a physical audit like KPMG, Ernst & Young, the famous one, or a bank. And then you have a digital audit, which is Chainlink is doing it. And Chainlink is creating a price feed and audit through Oracle. Okay? So the whole thing is very serious. It's not give us your gold, we tokenize it, and you can do whatever. No. There is a token linked to the physical gold belonging to you. And of course, the whole system is regulated. But one thing very important, the gold tokenized version is a commodity, is not a security token. Hence, regulations are different. And the second token that is within that ecosystem is a utility token. RWS is Serenity utility token. So we are integrating different technology together to make this consortium work and allow people around the world to invest into that ecosystem or invest into gold and use that ecosystem. One thing also, before we finish, I want to say, we will very soon upload a deck and the methodology and the white paper on the S-Gold. So people would have the liberty to go and do their Dior research and understand. The white paper is about 70 pages. So people, are free to go
A little
and
bit of a sneak
learn
peek here.
about it.
Yes, that's
Yes.
what they love to hear. As you know, our community is very keen on all that documentation. They ask about it every time, so I think that's very good to hear. And well,
Yeah.
there were a lot of questions in one, Jenny. So I would say, please go ahead.
So I'm sure people have many questions about the gold in general. We will do them in another episode separately. And the next question is, it's a 4-part question. I will give you time to answer each point separately. Is RWS going to have same tokenomics, max supply, and others like SERSH?
It's exactly the same. It's a mirror.
Yes.
Nothing changes. Ultimately, if the ecosystem grows, people will use a decimal of RWS, right? So if you have a 99, I think on the timestamp we were at 99 million, they will be capped to 99 million. Nothing changed on that. It's a mirror. We said it on day one, it's a one-to-one model. If it's a one-to-one model, that means everything within that model is mirrored.
Great. So next part is what happens to burned SERSH tokens?
Yeah, they stay
The ones
burned.
that were burned, they're burned. We're not going to mint 100 million and burn. We are starting with 99 million. 99 something exactly at the timestamp.
Of course, for some people this might be new, but to make it very easy, the tokens, the SERSH tokens, which were previously burned, aka taken out of circulation, we simply don't have to bring them back. We don't have to burn them again. We simply must mint them.
You mint 99 point something million instead of minting 100 million. Very simple.
Very easy. That's it.
Next part of the multi-part question is, since Serenity name stays, means all regulations deals were made in Serenity, so nothing happens to that?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
Me neither.
If the regulations...
The question is,
yeah.
If like, for example, our MiCA license and everything, if these regulatory achievements will change or not, because we don't change our brand name.
No, you have two things. It's not related to brand. The company doesn't change. The issuer doesn't change. The token change its name, but upgrade itself for better. Okay, you have a mathematic formula. If you can do more, you can do less, right? But if you can do less, you cannot necessarily do more. Okay, so we're bringing more utility into the table. Of course, we have to advise and inform the regulators, but the token issuer, the legal entity, doesn't change. The white paper, in essence, the name of the token changed, which offer more utility, but the core fundamental of the utility token doesn't change. We're not going from a utility token to a security token. If we do that, the whole thing has to change. But we're not doing this. We're just bringing more into the table to the benefit of the community, the holders, the investors, the users, right? So as I said, if you can do more, you can do less. From 4, you can go to 3. From 5G, you can go to 4G and 3G, right? Your mobile works. But if you have a 3G mobile, you can't have a 5G, right?
Mhm.
This is the same thing. It's a perfect example. If you have a USB 2.0, you could use a lower level of USB, but not necessarily a higher model, right? Same for a token.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And well, the fourth part of this question, Boris, was actually that he said really appreciate the team's effort to keep on building. So not a question, but something we love to hear, of course. So thanks for that, VP. And
Thank you.
now we have a long but good question coming in from SERSH. Of course, we're very familiar with him from our community chat. Given Serenity's
My regards to
positioning,
him, he's very active. My regards to him, he's very active into the
absolutely,
community. Thumbs up.
one of our loyal supporters, definitely.
Yes.
Given Serenity's positioning as a MiCA-compliant institutional-grade digital infrastructure provider, particularly in custody, identity-bound access, and governance frameworks, could you clarify the current status of your MiCA alignment? Specifically, does your regulatory positioning currently relate to MiCA white paper notification as a token issuer? Or are you also pursuing or already operating under a CASP license for custody and crypto asset services?
Okay. This is more or less come back to the previous question. The question itself is very sophisticated, but the net essence remains what I said earlier. The token issuer has already passed the level of verification and due diligence with the regulators, okay? The company, the shareholders, the owners, people go into individual due diligence, KYC, as well as the company, to the extent that we even had to submit a P&L, profit and losses over the next 3-4 years. So it's not something that is taken lightly, okay?
Oh, wow.
Coming to the token is a technological, I would say, software mean or tool to provide services through utilities. We fundamentally have not changed the core of what we offer and do. We're not shifting from utility to security, commodity, or whatever, and so on and so forth, or financial service provider. We're not doing that. The CASP license is a partner of us, but any company that has a CASP could be a partner. We're not a CASP license because we're not a broker and we don't offer financial services. We're offering a token, utility-based token, for an array of digital services that are blockchain-based. Okay? So for that token to be traded or for that token to be swapped, you need a CASP partner. And the CASP partner currently is BitPanda.
There you go. So indeed, a very elaborated question, but net essence, indeed, a little bit the same as the previous question. that being said, the follow-up question was also, is there any news regarding BitPanda? I think you saw that one coming.
Yes. BitPanda have been nothing than very collaborative and very helpful. They're very, I would say, good and professional people. They have nothing against supporting the token, okay? However, as it's been raised by a few members in the community, they used to trade or deal through Gate, but they have other ways of doing this. We are discussing with BitPanda to find the best way, but whatever we as a token owe responsibly to BitPanda will be given to BitPanda. Okay? That is a clear answer from us. No matter how many token it is, 5,000, 5 million, 10 million, 2 million, doesn't matter. Whatever BitPanda have under their custody held for their clients will be given to BitPanda. Okay? Then we will have to find a way to service their client, because BitPanda, as a class provider, regulated entity, have shown only collaborative and professional stance to say we will take the necessary measures to protect our client and to provide them whatever need to be provided, but we need to find the technical mean if Gate is not there.
Which is not easy, but you guys must also understand that when it comes to BitPanda, we're continuously working in the background. Honestly, the same counts for Gate. Everything that we can do, we are doing. It's not that we're just saying they don't want to cooperate or whoever, and no, we'll just leave it there. That's not how we view it at all. We're putting all that we can, all these efforts to make sure that even if they think they want to go with a no, we want to change it in a yes, right? Because we know, of course, how loyal all of you have been, how many tokens got on those platforms. So let there be no mistake about it. We are definitely trying our hardest to do this, but we will need cooperation. It's not our platform.
Yeah, David, as I said, it's not only trying our best, we have certain responsibility toward the task provider of our project. And they have certain responsibility toward also the European regulations and the regulator. So we work hand to hand. There's no doubt about it. Exchanges outside EU jurisdiction is a different ball game, and that's what I said to any user that hold any token. Always be careful which exchange you're dealing with. Okay? Because if they're outside EU regulations or outside your jurisdiction, you may end up having problems. And it happened to myself 2.5 years ago. I was dealing with an exchanges that went for whatever reason. Actually, they rug pulled, and I had a couple of Bitcoin in it. I had a lot of tokens, and so it happens to me as well. I can't just say everyone else make the mistake and not me. I made that mistake, but the thing is that I was using them for a bridge to bring my token elsewhere, and in the interim, I got a little bit sort of lazy, and they went bust. So my token got stuck, right? So it happened to everyone, and those people were in Hong Kong. Okay, so we have to understand that the market, as it moves forward, it will be more regulated, more protective, but also more restrictive. Absolutely. When you protect, you restrict.
More
See, it goes together. Yes. There are things you cannot do anymore. The time of Wild West, unregulated, people mixing privacy with, confidentiality and privacy, or secrecy, actually mixing secrecy with privacy, are gone.
Mhm.
Those are the things that people have to understand. As I said earlier, if commodities come into a blockchain format, or money, fiat as we know it, come into a blockchain format, there would be a much tighter control on everything, which is normal.
Mhm.
Because would you accept to have your gold tokenized and you lose your gold?
Would
No,
not be appreciated.
right?
No.
Right. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not the same thing as losing a meme coin, right?
No.
So,
No, it's not.
and I see Jenny is coming on and off with her cameras. I think she's in Dubai, not me.
No,
She
no,
appears
guys.
to have internet connection. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, in Thessaloniki, my city, it's also a problem without the missiles. And I
Yes, yes, I
think,
see you coming on and off, and your camera freezes a lot. So apologies
yeah,
for the viewers. Next time we'll
sorry.
have to correct that. Yes, no
Yes,
issue. It's
sorry,
not your
guys.
fault. You didn't know. Maybe you're not sitting in Greece. Maybe you're somewhere in the Middle East and you're not telling us.
Yeah,
No.
well, let's hope that's not the case.
Okay, guys, I think
So
we will end.
apologies
Yeah,
for this, huh?
yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, apologize. I think we will end this episode with more light question and something like a
Okay.
suggestion from our community member. He says, personally, I'd like to see an sAxess card with more character. For example, one made of metal. Is that an option?
Oh, that's a
That
question
boss
from
man.
Bossy.
This
Bossy,
this
I
is boss
see
man.
you.
Look, at the end of the day, everything is related to manufacturing. Manufacturing mean feasibility, of course, availability from the supply chain, but cost,
Mhm.
right? We will investigate maybe as we're growing and we're going toward S-Gold and tokenization, we'll see if we can do something very precious and limited edition for people that are holding gold on their cards and stuff like that. Because one thing to be known, sAxess Pro, which is live today, and the application is a blue color, versus sAxess where the application is green color, the card is one and the same, right? So we went for economy of scale and for optimization of our production. You use the same card. Of course, if you use it in enterprise, you will not be able to use it. Your enterprise will forbid you, I believe, to use it for a wallet because it's a conflict of interest and breach of security protocol. But
Mhm.
whether you use it for enterprise or you use it for a wallet, the card is one and the same, right? So that allows us to target multiple markets and segments with the same item, with different services, underlying services and software underneath.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very good. And I think indeed we're closing in with the end. So of course, first and foremost, thanks a lot if you've reached it to the end. Much appreciated. Again, in our the bio will be, of course, first and foremost, subscribe to our YouTube, but in the bio will also be our different socials. Do follow up our X, our LinkedIn, all that good stuff. So we definitely didn't manage to get to all the questions, which is no issue at all. We'll promise you, as said, this will at least be a bi-weekly podcast, maybe even weekly, depending on of course, our schedules and the time. The next time we'll have more VIP guests. So what you guys can also do is send me a DM on Telegram, Morgan X4, and of course, you can leave in requests of who you would like to see. Maybe it's a GovDocs, a Zonix, it's a Farshvala, Venkat. And of course, we'll make the time to make that happen. So that being said, from my end, thank you all for participating as well, Boris, Jenny, and have a lovely day for all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.